So this is the world we talked about. David hinted at this. This is the VUCA world. And this is the setting for the 10-year forecast. So it's volatile, it's uncertain, it's complex, it's ambiguous. And as you think 10 years ahead, it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get calmer. It's not going to go back to the way that it was. It's going to get more VUCA. So leaders, especially values-linked leaders have to emphasize that VUCA world and have to assume it and have to say, I'm going to win anyway, and not expect it to go back to the way that it was. So we've kind of worked with that. This term was actually developed in the military, and we've worked with that and thought, as you think 10 years ahead, we've realized that volatility yields to vision. So in a VUCA world, vision gets rewarded in an unusually high way. Uncertainty yields to understanding, and it could be understanding of customers and consumers. It could be other kinds of understanding. Complexity yields to clarity. And here, the ugly truth of the VUCA world is clarity gets rewarded even if it's wrong, because people are so confused. Now, I don't recommend this. If you're clear and wrong, you get in trouble down the line, and we've got lots of lessons from Washington in recent years of people who have been very clear but turned out to be wrong. That's not what you want to do. What you need is clarity, simplicity, without being simplistic. That's the delicate leadership challenge. And finally, no matter what you do in this world, you have to be agile. It's all about agility.
I wanted to make one comment, and that is, I was recently, about 3 days ago, talking to our COO, who's an expat working with the Japanese business. And he was telling me the story that he lived through of the earthquake and the tsunami and the nuclear disaster that's occurred there. And it's quite a compelling story. But one of the points that he made, and he was actually a participant in our global leadership program, and I asked him, so you've personally experienced what we would call probably one of the most VUCA situations you could possibly imagine. How did you manage that? How did you get through that? And the thing that kept coming through in terms of his discussion around how the leadership team managed that was clarity. This issue of, in that uncertain, chaotic situation, they saw their role as creating clarity, and they had to do that for the people they were leading through prioritization and through understanding that people came first. They needed to take care of that. But throughout that whole event, and even now, their role is really one of trying to create some clarity in this chaos. Yes. and a VUCA world.
Yes. So the big lesson from the VUCA world about strategy is you have to be very clear where you're going, but very flexible how you get there. So here's where values come in again. You have to be very clear about your values, but very flexible how you get there. That's the hard part. How do you keep that clarity with the flexibility? So this is more the VUCA world that we experience. April 15th of last year, I was in London. I did a keynote talk for a big innovation conference, innovation leaders all around Europe. And I did my morning talk on the VUCA world and cloud computing. And at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, this cloud descended on London. This is the first of the volcanic ash clouds. It seems like they come up every week now, but this was the volcanic ash cloud that closed British airspace for the first time in history. So I do my morning keynote talk, and then in the afternoon, this cloud descends upon us. We all took note. Those of us who read Carl Jung said, synchronicity. There's some meaning here that's happening. But this is the kind of thing we all have to figure out how to respond to. That same week was the week of the BP oil spill disaster. So we had 2 VUCA world events in 1 week. We all have to be prepared for that. We all have to game that in advance.